I think everything's relative. You know, if you go to somebody in Sri Lanka and tell them what your guys' goals are, they would think that you're the richest man in Babylon. If you go to, you know, a billionaire and tell them what your goals are, they would tell you that you're, why bother, right? But I think that as much as we can look back on our old goals, because I think to myself, like, what if I had the brain or mind that I have now? I think you earn those steps. You know what I mean? I think you earn that perspective. And I mean, there's definitely a big degree of believing yourself, but then there's also the equal side of it of being delusional. And I think success lies in the balance of those. Because if you have too much delusion, not based in reality, you're not going to achieve, and you're just going to say, I'm going to be a billionaire, when you haven't even made 100 grand, right? On the flip side, if you are so based in reality, you're only going to look at the people who are around you. And so I think that, in my opinion, for me, the thing that have been most valuable for increasing my beliefs. So, I mean, if anybody's followed any of my stuff, like, I believe that there's 3 things at every level of entrepreneurship that you have to renew, right? You have to renew the skills, the traits, and the beliefs. And so basically at every level, and this actually works at an employee level too, if your business has stayed at the same level for 6 months, a year, whatever, right? Then rather than saying, I am stuck, simply asking better questions will usually allow you to have better answers, right? If we ask stupid questions, we get stupid answers. And so I think clarity of thought is so important, because then it makes answering the questions easier. And so if you ask yourself, and this is an easier way to do it, people who are ahead of me in my space, people who you probably may think are your competitors, who may be making more money than you, and you may be upset by that, but don't let your emotions get in the way, because they're better than you. And so you have to figure out why they're better than you. And so the idea is, do they have a skill that I lack? Do they have character traits that I lack? Or do they have beliefs about the world that are different than me? Here's a simple example. Let's say you have the skills to market, right? So you have the skills of marketing and sales, and you believe that you can achieve more, right? But you're still stuck, right? If that's you, or many entrepreneurs, oftentimes they lack the character traits of being persistent. They lack the character traits of focus. And so they have those skills, but they're applying them to, hey, I have to see if this niche or this niche will be better. I'm going to try them both out and see which one works. Right? When in reality, either niche would work, but both will not, because you cannot focus. And that is a character trait deficiency, not a skill deficiency or belief deficiency. A different example is, I had a friend of mine who had a fitness app. He was a CrossFit Games competitor. He got pretty high up. He was like 4th. And his app was pretty good. He was doing like $20,000 a month, but he didn't promote it at all because he was ashamed that he wasn't the CrossFit champion. He didn't think he deserved to promote it because he wasn't number 1. And so finally, he got enough positive feedback from the app that he said, I guess I can start promoting it. And within months, he was doing $100,000 a month. The product was there. He had the character traits of work ethic, right? So he had the skills of creating the product. He had the character traits, but he just didn't believe it, right? So we had to change his belief about the world, and then he got the outcome, right? The simplest one, in my opinion, is fixing skill deficiencies, right? And so if you think about the problems that you're experiencing, or you're hitting a plateau, you have to, at least for me, I think, is there a skill deficiency that I have? Is it a trait that I lack? Or is it a belief about the world? And so for me personally, when I had my kind of first explosion, we went from 3 million in profit to 17 million in profit between 2 years, which is pretty crazy, right? That wasn't revenue, that was profit. This was 3 or 4 years ago. The reason that I had that unlocking was because I had a mentor tell me, he said, hey man, you have a level 10 skill set and a level 2 opportunity. He said, you shouldn't be running gyms. You should be showing people how to run gyms the way you run them. And for me, that was a belief that changed. I had the traits, because I had the work ethic, I had the dedication, I had the focus, I had the skills. I was already running a 6-person sales team at the time, and we were already doing, 50 sales a day. So I was used to high volume sales. I had to switch my vehicle. So that was a belief change. And so people were like, how did it happen so quickly? It was because I think the rungs of the ladder, which is how I visualize this, is you have your beliefs as one vertical, you have your traits as one vertical, and then you have the skills at each rung, right? If you don't have any of those 3 at the next level, you can't move up, right? And so I had 2 parts of my ladder super high up built, but my beliefs weren't there, which is why, if you've heard any of my stuff, I focus so much on the beliefs, because for me, they were the things that really made such a big difference in my life. And so once I was able to grab on, that was like 6 levels of belief up that I was able to level up almost overnight. And it was because of that. There was a number of other things, but that was one of the big ones.